Hello. Don't look at me.
No, I thought you were talking to me, sorry.
No. Okay. Hello. Welcome to my book channel. That's like so crazy for me to say. Okay. So basically, my name is Haley. Hi. Nice to meet you. Me and my boyfriend Logan have a couples channel here on YouTube. That was mine a long time ago, but now it's just like a couples channel for us. I wanted it to originally be like a beauty channel or do something like that, but I've just grown so far out of that, and 2022 was really the year that I fell back in love with reading. I've always loved to read, but just last year, the past few years, I've had so many hours that I was working at my job that I quit last year and all these different things like life, adulthood. So now I finally have time to read, which is what I love to do, and I've just fallen back in love with reading, and it feels so good to pick up a book and just like, you know, just get lost in all of the pages, and then it's like before you know it, you finished it. So this is going to be my little channel. So I figured for the first video of this I would do my December reading wrap up. So I read, let me see, I read 8 books in December, which isn't like a ton, but you know, hopefully that goes up over time. Quick shout out, the book that I'm currently reading right now is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. Pretty much everybody raves about this book from them, and yeah, I'm on page 81. So I just started this yesterday and I'm already like obsessed, and I can tell it's gonna be like one of my favorite books of all time actually. But okay, let's just go in order here. I have like all my ratings on my notes app. Okay, so the first book I read last month was Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. Oh, I should mention real quick, so my favorite genre of books is actually fantasy, which there's no fantasy that I read last month. That is my favorite genre, and the reason because there's a lot of romance is because romance novels, a lot of the time, they aren't series, they're standalone books. I mean, some of them obviously are series, but I feel like it's hard to find a fantasy book that isn't a series, or at least a duology or something. So since I'm just getting back into reading and like books cost money, you know, yeah, I just didn't read a lot of fantasy last month, but I'm hoping to this month. So yeah, just thought I would clear that up before we got into this. So I personally really like Colleen Hoover. I think she's a great writer. I mean, who am I to judge? Like, I don't know how to write a book. I like her stuff. Ugly Love is one of my favorite books by hers, I think. I really love this. I love November 9th, and then I love another book, Reminders of Him, that we're going to talk about. Yeah, this pretty much, if you don't know, it's like a friends with benefits trope, like friends with benefits to lovers. I hate Miles. I do not like Miles. I know so many people are like, they like him or they don't like him. I don't like him. Yeah, I just don't. A lot of things he did with I don't agree with, but I like Tate. Tate reminds me of myself because I feel like we all can relate to just like being with a guy who's toxic and we know isn't good for us, but we still go back. And then also, as someone who has an older brother that was close in age to me, I developed a major crush on one of his friends, so I feel like people, you know, you can kind of relate to that. But yeah, I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't like a 5-star read for me, like, oh my god, I had to keep going and I wish there was more. It wasn't like that. It was just a really good read though that I read really quickly, but it didn't give me that 5-star feeling, you know? So, okay. Next, I read the To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy. I've read the first 2 before. My mom got me these for my 20th birthday, which was forever ago because I'm 23 now and I'm going to be 24 this year. So that was a while ago, but I finally read all of them, including the 3rd one. The reason she got these for me is because I am such a To All the Boys I've Loved Before movie stan. I have seen that thousands of times. I never get sick of watching it. I love Peter so much. I love Peter Kavinsky, and side note, I think my boyfriend kind of looks like him. Like, they're not exactly the same, but like they're kind of similar. So, and I just love Peter so much. I love him. I love Lara Jean. I love I love everything about those movies. But this series as a whole, I rate like a 4 out of 5 stars. The first book is my favorite. because obviously, you know, you get the characters developing, you learn their traits. Peter and Lara Jean, I feel like this is just when they're in their prime, you know, they get together at the end. It's super cute. The second book is my least favorite because obviously, why did we have to throw in the John McLaren love triangle that only lasted for one book? I don't get it. It actually does tie into the first book, which it doesn't. The second movie doesn't really tie into the first movie. This ties in, so I get it, but like, why did we have to do that? Why do we have to go there? I do not like love triangles. I just don't get them, you know? So that's my least favorite. And then third book is my second favorite. I love how this ends, and I think Jenny Han is a really good writer, and it's just one of those series that it's like a YA series, and I love YA. Young adult is like one of my favorite genres. I think they're so cute. They're easy to read, and they just give you like that nostalgia, like takes you back to when you're a teenager phase, you know? However, I will say I am like, this like doesn't usually happen, but this is one of those rare occasions where I think the movie is actually better than the book. Like, I like these movies better than I like the books because the movies actually changed quite a few things that happen in the books, and like, not only do they change like the events, but they also change like the sequence of the events that happen and take place. And for some reason, personally, I know a lot of people disagree, but I think the way that I think that the events that they happened in the movie, the subplots there, the sequence of events, I like the way they did it in the movies better than the book, personally. But I still had a good time reading these. I enjoyed them, and I love the covers. Like, I have the book covers, and I just love seeing them. I think they're so cute, and I love, like, in a bind, I love seeing them on in my collection with the rest of them. So 4 out of 5 stars. Oh, that was a 5. 4. Okay, let's next. Oh yeah. So, next book, this is the only nonfiction book this month, but it is Brazen by Julia Hart. I love her. She is queen. We stan. She came out with an autobiography of her story, like her upbringing, how she went through a literal hell and then became like this boss woman, multi-millionaire. We love her. If you don't know much about Julia Hart, she has the show on Netflix, My Unorthodox Life, and me and my boyfriend both loved that show. And they just came out with their second season in December, so I saw this and I was like, oh yeah, I want to pick this up. And I will say, I don't like rate people's life stories because that's just like, I don't want to do that. But I loved this book and I recommend this to everybody, especially though if you're someone like me. Like, I didn't come from a religious background like her, but I did have, like, my dad was in like kind of a religious cult, nothing like this, but kind of like that, like religious in like the toxic way, you know? So I just have like an interesting background when it comes to religion, and so I think stuff like this is really, really fascinating, and I definitely recommend to everybody. Every single person on this earth, I think you should read this. It has a great message, and I think it's just so cool how she overcame so many obstacles to get to where she is today. Like, highly, highly recommend this book. Okay, next we have Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. I picked up this because one of my friends was telling me this was her favorite Colleen Hoover book and that I should give it a try, so I did. And I have to say, I think this is my favorite Colleen book. This and November 9th are like really, really close, but I really loved this one. I just think it's so cute, the storyline, you know. So kind of a background is, if you haven't read this, this young mother, what's her name? Oh yeah, Kenna. So Kenna, it starts with her getting out of prison, and she has a daughter that she hasn't seen, and so she wants to go see, and you know, obviously people in this town that she's from, where her daughter lives, don't want her daughter to have anything to do with her. And so then she meets this guy named Ledger, and I won't go into too much who he is, but they form a relationship with each other, and at the end, you know, it just all came together so nice, so beautifully. I loved every second of this book. I literally read this in a day, okay? I read this in a day, and I loved every single second of it, and it was one of those books that had a really interesting plot, actually. Like, I applaud her. I think this was creative. I give it to her. Okay, last Colleen book for the month. Then I read It Ends With Us. I kind of went into this trying not to have too high of expectation. Oh. Sorry, I didn't even tell you my rating on this. This is 5 stars for me. I loved it personally. I know 5 stars is like kind of high, but you know what? I loved it. I enjoyed it, and I would definitely reread this like 1,000 times over. So, okay, so it ends with this. Back to this. I know this is like her most popular book, and it's universally the one that people love the most. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I wasn't obsessed with it. I really did like it, but not like I did Reminders of Him or November 9th. It obviously deals with a very, very heavy topic, but I do think she did it in a good way. There's one part at the very end that I don't really love. So like if you haven't read this, like skip to whatever timestamp I have, because I'm going to have like a little spoiler. But I didn't love how she was like asking him at the end, like, you know, if this was your daughter, like how would you feel if she was dating or in a relationship with someone like you who's abusive? And it's like, I get why they put that in there, but at the same time it's like, you carried his child, he was dating you, like he should just respect all women. Like he shouldn't hit any woman, and you know, it's sad that he has to like put it in the terms of his own daughter and not his literal wife. But okay. So yeah, that was the only part that I didn't love. But other than that, I do think she did a really good job depicting this sort of trauma. And, you know, at the same time, it was something that was really personal to the actual author. So I did like this a lot. I would recommend this. Side note, but I love the name Lily too. Lily's like one of my favorite names for children. I think it's really cute. So there's like bonus points in there for me for that. All right, last book of the month, and that is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. You guys, oh my god, this is a 5 stars. I loved every single second of this book. I read this and literally I started it one morning and I finished it the next morning. I loved this so much. It was so incredible. I saw Haley Pham talk about this. You guys know Haley Pham is like the biggest fan of this book, and I like a lot of the same books that she does. We have very similar taste, and oh my gosh, this was so cute. It was like The Duff, but I just thought it was such a cute teen romance. I loved Liz and Wes. I loved their banter together. I loved Wes's personality. Basically, it's kind of like The Duff if you haven't seen that. They kind of pretend that they're dating so that she can get the attention of somebody else. But as you can probably guess, they end up falling for each other. So yeah, it was really, really cute. I loved this, and I would recommend this to literally every single person. Even if you don't like cheesy stuff, I would recommend this to you because I think this was something that was cheesy that was done in a really good and interesting way. Okay, that's all the books that I read fully. I did just kind of want to mention this book here because I started this in December and I thought I was going to finish it and I did not. So this is Tender as the Flesh. I do plan on still reading this. I'm not going to DNF it completely, but this is completely different than all the other books I just recommended, by the way. This is what would you call this? Is this like a thriller or like a dark, I don't know. It's dark. It's set in a dystopian world where animals develop like a virus that's poisonous to humans. So humans, they run out of food and humans start eating humans, like they turn into cannibalism. Really interesting topic. The author of this is vegan. I'm vegan, so I kind of was interested in it for that reason, but I only got like a few chapters in and it was just very descriptive and very, like, if I read this again, I have to go into it knowing that I just kind of have to disassociate with like my morals and my feelings, because this was a very heavy read and it was honestly too much for me, and I put it down and I was like, you know what, I want to finish this at some point, but I'm just gonna have to turn to something else for a while and then get back to this, because especially after reading something like this, Better Than the Movies, and then going to this, like, that is just too much of a jump. So I'm gonna read this at some point this year and then give my full thoughts, but yeah, just know that this is a messed up book, but I know that's kind of the point of books like this. It's just kind of hard for me as a person to disassociate from that. Okay, I think that is everything. That's all the books that I read in December, and I cannot wait to continue reading this year. I have so many goals for myself. I really want to read the Harry Potter series this year because I've always wanted to read that and I never have. And then I also am going to be reading starting this series this month, the ACOTAR series, which I am so excited for. Literally haven't heard any negative reviews about this series, and like I just said, fantasy is my favorite genre. So yeah, I'm really excited. Alright, well, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you watched it, I hope you subscribe. I hope you like this. I hope you stick around, and I will see you guys in my next video.